welcome back to Rex Programming's Introduction to Python. In this lesson, we are going to be covering more functions and specifically using parameters within our functions. Let's get started. Go ahead and open up Atom, and inside Atom in your functions folder, go ahead and create a new file. Call this parameters.py. And parameters.py is a file that is going to help you guys learn about using parameters inside your functions. So when you create a function, it does something whenever you call that function. Here, we're going to actually take in a parameter that is going to allow us to edit things based on what we're asking for. So let's say we create a scoreboard of a football game. And as you know, in football, whenever there's a touchdown, it's 6 points. And if the team scores the field goal, they get an extra point. So let's say we have the Cowboys with 10 points playing the Eagles with 3 points. So if I wanted to print maybe something like scores and scoreboard, I could do that and now print out my scores. So let's say I want to take and define a function that is going to change the score of one of my teams based on if they scored a field goal or not. So I can define a function called touchdown, where I'm going to take in a team and a field goal, and then do something based on what team scored and if the field goal was good. So if field goal is equal to true, then print team scored. The field goal was good. Then I will also go ahead and take my scoreboard and change the score of the team to add 7 points to it. And if the field goal is not true, which means they missed it, then we can just simply print that they scored and the field goal was not good, and the scoreboard will now we'll just add 6 points to it. So at the end of this, we're going to also print out now our scores. Now that we have this function defined, we can now pass it parameters. And if we don't, you'll see it will tell us that we can't run this function because it needs 2 parameters. Touchdown missing 2 required positional arguments, team and field goal. So it needs the 2 arguments, these 2 parameters that you have declared here. It needs it now. So you have to give it a team and you have to give it a field goal value. So let's say that the Cowboys did score the field goal. Cowboys scored. The field goal was good. The Cowboys score is now 17 and the Eagles 3, which means that we added 7 points to our score of 10 and it worked successfully. Now, we can also set in our parameters default values. So I could set my field goal value equals to true automatically. So now I don't have to type in true. I could just say touchdown Eagles, and now it will say that the field goal was good automatically because the default value was true. And if I change this, I could just type in false. And now, if the Eagles scored and the field goal was not good, then the points would only be 9 points instead of 10 because they're only going to get 6 points added instead of 7. And if I leave this blank, the default value would be true. And they would get 10 points and the field goal was good. False is just changing that parameter, that default value. So now it's only going to ask you to put in 1. If I do it by itself, it will just ask for 1, saying, hey, I need that team parameter, missing 1 required positional argument team. Because there is no default team, there's just a default that the field goal was probably made. Well, that's it for today. Congrats. I'll see you in the next video.